media attacks against some of these companies. There's a guy named Max Kaiser who has a website called Karma Bank, and he lists certain companies, for example, Coca-Cola, that are very susceptible to, say, a ban. I noticed you talked about the stock price of some of these companies and how they plummeted in the hours after your press release. If you work with hedge funds who, let's be honest, all they care about is making money, they don't care that you're a progressive group necessarily, they could work with you to really drive that stock price down. If you have a 2-hour movement down in a stock price and you have a bunch of hedge funds buying put options at the same time, it builds upon itself. And I just, you know.
I don't think that any amount of that sort of pressure can really make a difference. I think it could make a momentary difference on one company, but the actual problem is the system that allows companies to get away with murder literally and not you know, see their stock value go up as a result. Until we change that, well, one start would be to get money out of politics. You know, then we would have a lot less of that. And there are different ways to do that. You can get money out of politics, and that makes a real difference across the board, and then companies can't spend billions of dollars. For example, Shell just spent $4 billion lobbying and campaigning to be allowed to drill in the Arctic. You know, that's an example of money in politics. The Arctic is now melted enough that Shell can go drill for oil up there. Wrong response. And that's pretty offensive to a lot of people, including people in government, but because Shell could spend $4 billion on lobbying, they managed to get it approved by the Obama administration. When you can stop that sort of thing, then you can make a real difference. Bringing down one company like Coke, which I'm sure does terrible things, and you know, or any one of these banks that does terrible things, that's great, but one thing that does is send a message that it's just a few bad apples, whereas it's not. It's the entire system.
Yeah, no, that wasn't actually my point. My point was that, like, if you do that to one company, it sends the message potentially to the other companies, and not all companies are susceptible to what I'm talking about. Some, like you said, it's not going to make a difference,
been
but
done.
there potentially are some companies that are more susceptible.
That's something you can test. Like, there have been boycotts that have really hurt certain companies. Has it actually stopped other companies from doing terrible things? No. So it's, you know, to really change things, we have to have systemic legislative changes, like either a constitutional amendment to stop corporate personhoods, to say that corporations don't have the rights of people, which that's a tall order, or even something like an FCC disclaimer on the front of political ads, just like you have, you know, disclaimers on medical ads for pharmaceuticals that say the side effects. Why not have a FCC requirement that if you put on an ad for a campaign or whatever, you have to disclose exactly who's paying for it and who's behind who's paying for it, and, you know, have real clarity about what you're seeing. Right now we don't have that, and that would be really just a palliative measure. It wouldn't fix it, but it would be something. So there are these things that would systematically improve the situation. I think going after individual companies and trying to send them a message is like, you know, it's a bit Christian. It's about like thinking their better sides will win out and the other companies will, you know, do the right thing because they see they're in trouble or whatever. It's not, you can't rely on their conscience or even their fear.
I just feel like it's like fighting fire with fire, but thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, I have a question for Vermin. Vermin, are you there? Hey, hey, are you running for president?
Yes.
Awesome.
I am a friendly fascist, a
Can we
tyrant
see
that
a
you
video?
can trust.
Could we perhaps see
And you
a video
should.
from, a debate?
Let me run
Presidential debate? Like right
your
now?
life. I have debated several candidates this election season, yes.
How about the Democratic debate?
Well, I was involved in the lesser-known candidate debate back in December 19th, 2011. And yes, I won. Thank you. I've also debated Jimmy McMillan, another fine meme who I believe I might be tapping for my VP meme candidate. And I have, of course, also debated Aleister Crowley's Representative on Earth earlier in the year, back in October. And I think I won that one too. Thank you. Does that answer my question?
Is there a video? Is there a video?
There are videos of all those debates, yes.
Could we see it?
If you just Google it up. I suggest that I would suggest you type in my name with the name of any other presidential candidate in the past 15 years, and you'll have some fun. Oh, wait. Oh, Jesus, that's a giant Vermin Supreme, help us! Fight back. We can no longer be a nation indentured. Our very salivation is at stake. Together, we must brace ourselves. As we cross over to the bridge work, into the 23rd century, let us bite the bullet and together make America a sea of shining smiles from sea to shiny sea. Now, friends, some people will tell you that this mandatory toothbrushing law is about the secret dental police kicking down your door at 3 a.m. to make sure you've brushed. Friends, it is not. Some will mention the dental re-education centers or the preventative dental maintenance detention facilities. It's about none of these things. It's not about the government-issued toothpaste containing an addictive yet harmless substance. No, friends, it is not even about DNA gene splicing to create a race of winged monkeys to act as tooth fairies. Friends, what this mandatory toothbrushing law is really about is strong teeth for a strong America. My name is Vermin Supreme. I am a friendly fascist. I am a tyrant that you should trust, and you should let me run your life, because I do know what is best for you. Yes, I am a politician. I will promise you anything your little electorate heart desires, because you are my constituents. You are the informed voting public, and because I have no intention of keeping any promise that I make. Vote early, vote often. Remember, a vote for Vermin Supreme is a vote completely thrown away. I would like to take this moment to acknowledge my mother, who is in the audience here today. Please stand up, Mother. Please stand up. If you can stand up, please stand up. She's going to try and stand up so you can acknowledge. Thank you. That was that occurred in real life. Thank you. And at the end of it, I did in fact litter bomb. I turned Randall Terry gay. That's what happened.
Another question?
Yes.
It is amazing to me that you, Andy, can appear before a group, inflate a giant dong, and not provoke any kind of a response. Do you have any thoughts about the, I don't know, psychological dynamics of those groups and what's going on in their heads?
Well, yeah. Is Mike there? Maybe Mike can answer that one.
And Mike, go Bisons. I don't know if you can hear that.
Well, I'll start. He'll finish. Yeah, it's not that unusual if you think about it. They're there to see somebody from the World Trade Organization speak, and the program says that's who they're seeing, and they just accept whatever the person is saying.
But I mean, you're doing something that's calculated to be as absurd as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And they're not reacting.
Right. Well, they should react. I mean, they should think this is really offensive and this is wrong. And a couple of the people in the audience actually did come up afterwards and said, that was really weird. And one woman was actually offended because it implied that only men could be factory owners. That wasn't exactly the message we were aiming for, but that is also, yeah, that was offensive. But no, I think it's like, the problem isn't that people just watch it and believe it's the WTO. That seems normal, that, we know how to suspend our disbelief, and if it says it's something, then we just go through and believe it. But yeah, that nobody would object to that. Part of that might be that the people in the audience, they're in that world where the WTO is very important, and they don't have anything to gain by opposing it or by shouting something in the middle of a conference and stopping things or animating those brain cells that might be critical of it. So the real message of that for us, of showing that, is not those people are stupid, because they're not. They have PhDs and they're quite smart, the people in the audience. The real message is we can't trust other people to make sure that things aren't going haywire. and that it's only people, it's only democracy that can watch out. You know, you can't like trust that corporations are going to do the right thing, even with pressure. They need a lot of pressure, and it's actually, you know, you can't trust that politicians are going to do the right thing either, just because you elect them and they seem okay when you elect them. Which is the story of this, incidentally. This, speaking of the Yes Lab, I have a bunch of these newspapers here, and we're asking for a small donation that will support the Yes Lab. But we published these in part with the help of Scott and Liz over there. A week after the victory.
From Evil Twin booking.
A week after the election victory, this newspaper came out. The media reported 1.2 million copies, thanks to Scott. It was actually 80,000 copies in New York City. Thanks, Scott. That was actually very important. 80,000 copies in New York City of this fake New York Times that announced that the Iraq War was over. You know, we were building a sane economy by establishing a maximum wage law for CEOs, et cetera, all kinds of great news. And the whole message of it was that these things only happened because people took to the streets and kept up the pressure that they had used to get Obama elected. All the energy behind the election was actually sustained, and this man they had elected had to do the right thing afterwards. It was a fictitious 6 months in the future view that, of course, hasn't quite come true yet.
We seem to have lost Mike.
Oh.
We're connected, but he's not there.
Huh.
Mike, where are you, Mike? Can you hear us?
Possibly he's abducted.
Is there anybody else named Mike here? Anybody?
Let's try.
Free ponies for all Americans.
Anyways, next.
Hi there. I can't help but notice that you
Please
guys
leave a
seem...
message.
Sorry. I can't help but notice that you guys seem extremely legit, and I was wondering if you could go into some of the techniques that you've employed in seeming that way.
Yeah, well, I don't know that we seem legit, but we have evolved some techniques. The main thing we do to seem legit is act like we are on paper. We use press releases, basically. And we do have a few other secrets of like how to appear at conferences and how to get in and, you know, basic social engineering that I think many of the people here could figure out a lot better ways to do it than we have. But what we have learned, we've posted online at yeslab.org/cookbook. It's not linked anywhere, so if you want to see it, you have to remember that whole URL, yeslab.org/cookbook. But the main technique that we use is the press release, and also a couple of times the video news release, where you just produce news. You write the news or you make a video of the news that you'd like to see. And you work backwards from there. Okay, what do I actually have to do to make an interesting news article? That's basically the secret of what we do.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm back. My question, it's a little bit foreign for me to, you know, to be a fake character or something like that, so I don't completely understand that concept. But my question would be actually a political one. A lot of activism in the West is actually very reformist. It's very, you know, there are the bad capitalists and the good capitalists, and if you criticize the bad capitalists, they become good capitalists. But isn't all capitalism bullshit and bad, and shouldn't we kind of like be a little bit more hard on and not that reformist and change a little bit here and change a little bit there, and it will be better? You know?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I love what Frances Fox Piven says about that. She's, if you've ever read her, she's an incredibly powerful writer. A book called Poor People's Movements, for example. She talks about riots and how you actually have to take to the streets sometimes. And you know, when, like in the 30s, all this so popular pressure that basically forced Roosevelt to pass the New Deal goes into a lot of detail of that. But I asked her a similar question, like, what do we do now? Everything totally everything seems completely messed up. And, you know, do we need revolution or what? I mean, and she said, well, there are a lot of ways that things can get better, and there are a lot of reforms that can happen, but you actually need revolutionary action to get those reforms. So, you know, we can't necessarily just tear down the system and start again. That might not even be desirable because who knows what happens. But you do need to actually take action that's pretty revolutionary to get
Gotta hit 'em
anywhere at
high,
all.
gotta hit 'em low. Go team.
Yeah, basically.
I accept that as a statement, although I not completely believe it. Yes. Okay. Just in case anyone wants to commit a felony, I have the official immigration stamp of Soviet Union Zegersdorf. If you bring me your passport, I'll stamp it. It's really a felony, and it's the cheapest you get today.
Thank you. Wonderful. One more question. I'm afraid, right?
Okay.
We have time for one more. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, if you wanted to get a Million Meme March down in Charlotte, I think that someone who could help you get with the logistics of turning out people like that. Improv Everywhere is this group in here in New York City, organizes pantless subway rides, has dozens of topless men go into Abercrombie and Fitch to buy a shirt. You know, they announce things on their site and they turn out flash mobs of, you know, up to hundreds of people to pull off stunts like that. And I think it would be great if you marshaled their creativity and manpower with your social conscience and put your heads together and came up with something great.
Thank you, citizen. Finally, a good suggestion.
All right. So thanks again. And again, if you're around in the fall, please consider joining the Yes Lab and working on some of these projects yourselves. They're fun. They take a lot of work, but they're fun. I can guarantee that. And visit the yeslab.org if you want to see more of the stuff that we've done in the last year. And if you want to support it a little bit, buy one of these newspapers. Thanks. And I guess we'll be sitting somewhere outside there.
And if you want to raise hell in the streets, come on down to Tampa and Charlotte. Special thanks to Evil Twin Booking. If you want us at your place, call them. Thank you. My name's Vermin Supreme.
To quickly add to that, on Twitter, Million Memes, and it's millionmemesmarch.wordpress.com, I think.
Wait, where's the flashes?
Okay. We actually have one quick special thing. If I could get the if I could get the laptop audio up. One more huge round of applause for the Yes Men. Wasn't that a great presentation? Is it up? Oh, okay, cool. Caught off guard. That was actually not it, and I lost it. Oh, shoot. Did you want to just introduce the video real quick? Yeah, sorry, I lost the slide. Okay. Yep, yeah, just go for it.
Hi, I'm Giraffa. This is Tim Pool.
Whoa! Hold on! Hi, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce a few indie journalists from the internet also. They are going to talk about their experiences in NATO involving the police repression of indie journalists there. And I'd like to introduce to you Giraffa and Tim Pool. Thank you.
Hello. So we're going to play a quick video for you here that was reported by Channel 5. Tim and I were with a group of people that were covering the NATO protest. We were with a group of journalists and doing information facilitation with Telecomics. And we had our house raided and then were stopped by 12 marked and unmarked DHS, CPD cars, and a bunch of stuff. And we're going to be giving a talk at 1900 hours in Felsenstein room, if I'm saying that correctly. So I want to take this opportunity to play the video.
The protesters here may be among the most watched in history thanks to a new breed of journalists covering what's going on in the streets.
Some of whom we have learned are being targeted by police are some of these journalists. Here with exclusive details in our ear to the underground is NBC5's Lisa Parker. Lisa.
Thanks, Stefan. All night last night, we heard from dozens of protesters and independent journalists about raids and traffic stops taking place across the city.
Yeah, I know.
Now, that kind of allegation is hard for us to confirm unless or until we see the kind of video that came into us from around 2 this morning.
We're being raided right now. For those that are watching, we are being raided by the CPD as we speak.
What is this for, officers? What is this for?
I'm unbuckling my seatbelt. We're gonna unlock it.
We're just pulled over. Stop, license. They didn't give us an explanation to why they're stopping us. You're watching us live right now. 12 cars.
So now inside that car, 3 of the live streamers we've been interviewing and introducing you to all week this week. Just a few minutes after he says the handcuffs were removed by police, independent journalist and Chicagoan Tim Pool called us.
Hey Lisa, we just got a crazy situation. We're heading back to the house. The person we were staying at was acting real weird. We told her we were heading back to the house to get our stuff now. And as soon as we did that, cars pulled out of nowhere behind us. They unmarked Crown Victoria Gray, cut us off, and we were surrounded by 12 cars and then a bunch of unmarked like Infinity and other cars, like just a swarm of police in an area where there are no cars. And we were cuffed, interrogated, credit card numbers were taken down, passport numbers. They banged our hard drives against the ground. This is crazy. We can't stream it all. We got the stream up because we saw the car coming around. As soon as they cut it off.
So now Poole says the detention lasted about 10 minutes total and that police said the reason for the stop was that their car matched the description of a car authorities are now looking for. He described the whole thing as pretty freaky, but said police did act reasonably. We contacted CPD about this incident, but we've not yet heard back. Daniela, Stefan, back to you.
All right, Lisa Parker, thank you for that.
I certainly did not say the police acted reasonably. It was outrageous, but at 7 in Felsenstein, we're going to be talking about our experiences that whole day with our apartment being raided, as we were told, from being pulled over. They had their guns drawn on us as journalists covering this protest event. So come down for a discussion, 7 p.m., and hear the whole story, and I would appreciate you all coming.
All right, thank you very much again. Lightning talks are happening in just about 1 minute. The 2 o'clock talk that is happening in Nut will be starting about 5 minutes after this, so if you want to go see that. Otherwise, please stick around for lightning talks, and all of my lightning talk presenters, if you could come up to the front of the stage, I'd appreciate it. Greg, did I miss any other announcements, or is that it? That's it? Okay, great. Thank you guys again, and stay tuned for lightning talks. Yeah, right. Mitch, are you here?